Sorry, I was just trying to get the links out and everything. How are we doing, man? First day of training camp. It's like the first day of school. It was a great day. The first day of Trey Lance as QB1. What an amazing day. There was a lot of news. There was a lot to unpack. Shout out to Ray McLeod with the signature on the hat. That was a proud moment today. I'm going to bring this hat to camp every day and try to get an autograph every day. And we're going to fill this hat up with autographs. But it's neither here nor there. I'm excited, man. Trey Lance, we still haven't even taken off the little wristband yet. Oh, man. What's up, everybody? How are we doing? So hyped, man. So before training camp even started, Kyle Shanahan met with the media. There was stuff to talk about then. Jimmy came, he did a little workout, did a little rehab, and they excused him from training camp. He doesn't have to be there. We talked about this, remember? All week I said, is Jimmy going to have to be there at training camp? They said, yo, pack your bags. You don't need to show up. Do your rehab. He was in traffic. I don't know where Jimmy was. He wasn't at training camp today. He did his workout in the gym, rehab, and then he gone. He gone. Jimmy's probably going to get cut, dude. I don't know if it's going to happen soon. They're probably going to get this man cut. It's crazy. As much as we give, as much as people give Jimmy a lot of crap and stuff for, you got to give him a lot of respect. He's handled this well, man. I don't know if I would have been able to handle this the way Jimmy Garoppolo has, right? He's handled this very well, right? Class act. For what it's worth, Jimmy has really helped this team blossom through the years. The players loved him. Class act. Wherever he goes, I hope he lands on his feet. But yeah, came in, rehabbed, and they said, yo, hit the streets. You don't need to be here. Do your thing. And I just let Trey Lance steal the show. It let him lead this team. They are committed to Trey Lance, and he led the way. He led the way today. Yo, hit that like button on your way in, by the way. Appreciate you guys. How's everybody doing? But yeah, Trey Lance led the way, and you could tell he was confident. He had this swagger. Everybody was locked in on Trey. Like, the moment he came out, it was just like, remember I said, it was shoot, rubberneck. We're going to talk about Trey because I know you guys want to hear about Trey. He looks so good. He was looking sharp today. We'll get to him. But yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, he was definitely a guy that we had to keep an eye on, right? Because he was not on the practice field, right? He didn't have to go out there and practice. So that was one story. Deebo Samuel, story number 2, big story. Was he going to show up to camp? He showed up. He didn't go in and practice. And Kyle Shanahan basically told us, he says, we're not going to rush Deebo. We're going to make him do light work. We're not going to push him. You don't want him to get hurt. They're in the middle of a contract. He spoke this morning and says things are going great. They've reiterated this now 3 times this week that contract talks are going good. Deebo was smiling. He was doing some, side work, light work, running on the sidelines. He wasn't trying to get hurt. There was one time where, he was running it up and catching the ball when they were doing team drills, but he was mainly on the side, just conditioning, running around. But he was smiling. You could tell he was smiling. The fans were cheering his name. There was one point during team drills, he's just sitting on the sideline, and chatting it up with the players, talking to Ayuk. He got a big hug from Trey Lance. Like, it was great to see Deebo. He was vibing. So he was there. I think that was a great sign. I know some people are like, oh, Deebo's not practicing. That's a hold-in. That's the new collective bargaining agreement. You don't have to go out there. And why would he go out there and risk himself to get hurt, right? BA, we're going to get to BA. He was a big-time part of today's practice. We'll get there. But I want to speak more on Deebo. The fact that he was out there today was just good news. It's great. Great news, right? Just for him to be there. You could tell, like, part of him was probably like, I want to go play. I want to play, man. I want to play today. But, you got the contract. You got to do your thing. You got to do your thing. Deebo looked happy. He was smiling today. And now I just saw in a story before I started this live that he's with his baby boy. He's, enjoying his life as a dad. So respect to Deebo as a father, man, fellow father. It's great to see that. So Deebo out there, conditioning, running on the sidelines. Just to be there was great. He's not going to go out there and do team drills. And, it's still early in training camp. The pads haven't come on. The fact that he's out there is a big W for this team. That was good. Now, breaking news. We did talk about this. I posted about this. We've talked about this a couple days out of the week, right? That Dee Ford probably is going to get cut. Remember, John Lynch says, he says, expect a transaction in the next few days. He says, expect a transaction today. The transaction happened. Pull out the scissors, ladies and gentlemen. He got cut. Dee Ford, after all these years, got cut. Unfortunately for him, he could not stay healthy. It's sad. It's tragic for him. Just couldn't stay on the field. And this guy was a solid player for us when he was on the field, but he was not on the field a lot. Great player, but often injured, and they had to cut it loose. They saved $1.12 million in cap space this year, so you hate to see it. He had the potential, but this was probably one of the worst signings they had because of a guy that couldn't stay healthy. They chose to keep him over, DeForest Buckner, right? Armstead has really been a solid player. I know a lot of people hated the fact that, they got rid of DeForest Buckner, but they chose Armstead. If you really think about it, they chose to keep Armstead so they could sign like Jimmy Ward and Dee Ford. And Dee Ford just never really did what he had to do, right? He never really did what he had to do, and it was unfortunate. And, it's just one of those things. The casualty of sports is sometimes you get these players and they're injury prone, and that's what happened. They should have checked the Carfax before he was, taken by when they traded the Chiefs. Because before that season he had where he blew up and they, he had his career year, the year that the Niners went and traded for him, he was always hurt. He had hamstring issues, concussions, and things like that. But again, I think they wanted that potential and they saw what he had in him and they had to go and chase it. Unfortunately, he just never could get to speed and he was always hurt. So, but we have guys like Samson Ebukam, and then we got Drake Jackson and Kerry Hyder. They have solid depth. That's why they went out and got a guy like Drake Jackson, right? They had so many great players on this team. And honestly, the fact that they went out and stacked this depth, I think the writing was on the wall. We all kind of knew that Dee Ford was probably going to be out, but this just solidified it. When they took Drake Jackson with that first pick this year, it kind of told you, like, okay, Drake's going to come in. They're going to teach this guy everything he needs to know. He's going to learn the ropes, and then he's going to become a future starter on this team. Again, they have a very solid depth, but, unfortunately, Dee Ford out, but they do save over $1 million in cap space, so that is good, right? Sucks for Dee Ford. I don't know what's next for him. I guess he might. I don't know if he's going to find a team. Maybe he might retire. I don't know. You could never count out someone in the NFC West, the Seahawks, the Rams, or the Cardinals. I would put my money on one of those three teams signing him and hope he gets healthy and maybe he can contribute to those teams. They'll kick the tires. One of those teams will cut the tires on him or kick the tires. One of those teams might kick the tires on him and he might go there. And maybe just for intel, right? You get Dee Ford for the intel. I don't know. And then you cut him. You get some inside information. The Seahawks love to steal the Niner players. We'll see. That could happen. I don't know. Let's see. Let's talk about Trey Lance because that is what everybody came to see. That's what everybody wanted to hear about today. Trey Lance stole the show. Again, Deebo was there. He did his thing. We talked about Jimmy. We talked about Dee Ford. But the number one guy, it's quarterback one, and it's Trey Lance. It was Trey Lance season. It's Trey Lance era. His first day as QB1, you could just tell he had that swagger. He had that, like, I'm going to go out here and show everybody I'm the man. He looked so confident. Arm was looking mighty fine. There was no arm fatigue, ladies and gentlemen. There was no arm fatigue because he was throwing, and he was throwing a lot. Throwing on the runs, the drills, he looked great. Footwork looked great. His release, his release was so quick. It was nice. It was just good to see him out there looking good. A couple of notes. So I was looking around, and I believe Camp Inman posted all his camp notes, and he had, let's see, Trey Lance. Where do you have him? Where was it? Take a look. Let me find where it was. I think he only missed 2 passes. And both of those were broken up by Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley was phenomenal. We'll get to him. But Trey, again, he looked good. He stayed after to kind of keep working. I think you guys saw the video. After practice, he was still going out and practicing with Brandon Ayuk. That connection continues to stay strong. He hit Brandon Ayuk 4 times today. He was finding Ayuk a lot. I think Ayuk had a lot of work today over the middle. That's where they really focused today, was over the middle. Tight ends got a lot of work. There was a nice play from Trey to Kittle on the sideline. But I'll tell you what, Trey was out there doing his thing. He looked very confident, looked sharp. You could just tell he's got command of the offense, and he just looked confident. And that was what we everybody wanted to see. And everybody was just staring at Trey today. That was what everybody wanted to see. Not a lot. There wasn't really deep stuff. They were just working those intermediate short passes today. So we didn't get to see the bombs. I want to see that next time. But Trey Lance looked phenomenal today. He looked great, you know. Nate, shout out to Nate Sudfeld. He was 11 for 11. He was perfect. Nate Sudfeld was throwing dimes today. Nate was throwing some dimes. There was one pass he threw to Brandon Ayuk. I was like, oh my God, Nate, you got a nice little arm there. I'm telling you, Nate Sudfeld might be the backup quarterback. That shocks everybody. Good. He's solid. I liked him. He knows Kyle's system. Nate Sudfeld was good. And Brock Purdy wasn't chopped livered. Brock Purdy looked pretty good. So I think they have three solid quarterbacks. So, but Nate Sudfeld, don't sleep on Nate Sudfeld. I'm telling you, Nate Sudfeld, man. Purdy had some nice throws. There was a few Purdy passes. There were some Purdy passes. I think I wrote a note here. There was a touchdown from Purdy to Matthews. Yeah, shout out to Jordan Matthews, still on this team. It was like a little slant play, and he took it with the yak, and he got the touchdown. But it was Purdy. Nice little dime, slant, on a rope, touchdown, Jordan Matthews. And I was like, okay, Purdy. Purdy looked okay. He looked okay. Again, no pads. Take it for what it's worth. But I do think that the backup quarterback room is better than we all thought. Better than we thought. Nate Sudfeld season, man. Now, shout out to Nine Lives Jordan Matthews. That man got a touchdown. You gotta love it. He's still working hard, But Trey, again, was the man. He just had that energy, that vibe, and it was amazing to see. He looked sharp. Oh, that's what I wrote my note down. He was 9 for 11 today. I know he missed 2 passes. Both of those passes were tipped by Emmanuel Mosley. Emmanuel Mosley was the best player on the defense today. He had a PBU on a pass to Jawan Jennings, and then there was another pass to Austin Mack, and he almost picked it. He should have picked the Mack one. He should have picked it, and you could tell he was beating himself up. He's like, I should have picked it. But E-Man, hands were close to getting the pick. He was clamps today. He was absolutely clamp money business. I don't know, whatever you want to say. Emmanuel Mosley, cornerback one. Charvarius Ward looked pretty solid too. Like, you could tell, like, those two guys are going to be in sync, and when they are working together, it's going to be a very good secondary. Love to see it. The crowd was hyped to see Emmanuel Mosley. A guy was looking sharp today. He was a dog. It was great. Again, 2 PBUs. He was my standout on defense. My standout on offense was Brandon Ayuk, looking like a veteran today. He looked like another man. He was just out there, determined. They were finding him a lot, and he was like what I said as a veteran. He was like looking at these younger receivers and then coaching them up. He was on the sideline and kind of showing them some routes, some schematics, and he was just talking to them. He was in their ear. He was talking to these young receivers and then, showing them the ropes. You could tell he was really talking to these guys and trying to educate them a lot. It was good to see that. He was kind of like an extra coach. Big brother Ayuk. It was big brother Ayuk. It was nice to see, because he was once the young man, and Mohamed Sanu used to be the veteran and kind of took him under his wing. I feel like Brandon Ayuk is starting to step into that leader role, and he wants to learn how to be more of a captain of this wide receiver room. And it's great. He learned a lot from Mohamed Sanu, so I saw that a lot. It was great to see it. Someone asked, is it Emmanuel Mosley's contract season? It is contract season, so he's going to go out and ball. Let's take a look at some of my notes. I said E-Man, he was a standout with multiple PBUs. Yep, we talked about that. Big huff, big vibe. Oh, Talanoa Hufanga, man, this guy is all energy. This man came out first person on practice, also with Nick Bosa. Those are the first 2 guys to touch the field, and those 2 guys were locked in. But Hufanga, last year, was always the first man out. This guy was the first man out again on day 1 of training camp. You love to see it. This guy was working hard. He was just a vibe. Whenever the music was on, he was just, you feeling it. The Bay Area music came on. He was doing his little thing, dancing, talking to the crowd. He just hyping the crowd up. I love Hufanga. He looked big this year, too. He looks jacked. He looks like he wants to be a star player in this league. So, love Hufanga. This guy was locked in. He was on the starting lineup. with Jimmy Ward. And speaking of Jimmy Ward, the man got a huge ovation from the crowd. The fans love Jimmy. My man, 9-year vet, screaming his name. He was looking sharp. Jimmy Ward was bringing smoke. There was a couple plays where he was just trying to take someone's neck off. You know, they can't really tackle, but he was coming and bringing the smoke. I could tell he was aggressive today. Love to see Jimmy out there just looking just sharp as it can be, right? Jimmy was looking nice. Hufanga was looking good. That's a great little safety tandem. Oh my man, it was good. Was Verrett working on the side field? I didn't see Jason Verrett. How did Trent Williams look? He wasn't there. He was excused because he was given a personal day. Let's talk about the O line because that's a good segue here. Trent Williams was given a day off. He had a personal day. So Colton McKivitz played left tackle. Aaron Banks was playing right guard. What was it? Left guard. Sorry. Brendel was center. Spencer Burford was at right guard. Sorry. Banks was at left guard. Spencer Burford was playing right guard. My boy, Big Spence. He told me the other day when we was talking and we did our podcast that they're trying to get him in at guard. He took every first team snap at guard. I mean, I'm sure they're going to rotate people in and see who works best there. But Spencer Burford, man, shout out to my boy. He was working out there, getting his first team reps, and he looked pretty solid out there. Mike McGlinchey, he did some individual work. He didn't do team drills. They're still trying to ramp him up. You know, he's coming off the quad injury, so they didn't throw him out to the Wolves. He was there, but Jalen Moore took first team reps today. So your starting line, a little different than what it mainly would look like, but it was Colton McKivitz, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel at center, Burford, and Jalen Moore. You had Dan Brunskill didn't play because he's still coming back from knee tendonitis, so he wasn't really there playing. But we expect him to be there when the season starts. But again, McKivitz left tackle, Aaron Banks didn't really look like he was doing a lot, but I didn't see him doing nothing. I didn't really see much from Banks. He didn't stand out to me. Jake Brendel, he was there, doing his thing. Burford really stood out to me. Maybe I was looking more towards him because that's my guy, right? I was kind of looking out for him. Jalen Moore, he was there too again. So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a rotation with this O line, right? But nice to see these younger guys get a lot of reps and a lot of, orientation and development. This is where it starts. These younger guys have to start somewhere. So it's good to see. A lot of them were just getting mixed around and they were getting their opportunities today, right? One guy that did stand out on the secondary was Leon O'Neal. Again, another guy I was kind of keeping a close eye to because I know a lot of us like Leon. He was aggressive. He was working hard. You could tell he was trying to really impress the coaches. Every time he was trying to get towards the ball. Ambry Thomas, he looked really kind of aggressive as well. Those two guys were really working hard out there. Got to shout out those two guys. Sam Womack, he was getting a lot of work in the slot. That's the guy we talked about that might be a slot corner. And he was, that nickel corner, and he was getting a lot of work. So Sam Womack, definitely good to see him out there. He was getting a lot of work today at nickel corner. So they're giving him the K'Wan Williams role, and they're going to really see what he can do. So nice to see him getting work in that spot today. So my man, Hey Peter Parker says, this is Trey's team. If you were at training camp today, you would definitely believe the fact that it was Trey's team. Again, he looked the part of QB1. He took control, absolute leader. He looked sharp. He looked sharper than a razor. Loved it. Looked great. Let's see. There's running backs. Let's talk about the running backs. Elijah Mitchell, he was kind of the lead back. This was the first time he's really touched the ball. He wasn't in OTAs because he was recovering from that surgery this offseason. He got the most carries. It was like 4 carries. And then you had Sermon and Jeff Wilson and Jamaica Hasty in there, kind of all doing their thing, and TDP. So no one really stood out much in the running back room. They were just, doing their thing. It's hard to stand out in the first day of training camp. Everybody's kind of hyped up. Everybody wants to prove themselves. Everybody's kind of still getting in the swing of things. But Elijah Mitchell, definitely running back one. I mean, if season started today, he's going to be your lead back. He got 4 carries. So not too much to really write home about with the backfield. There was a play where TDP got stuffed in the back from the new defensive lineman, Robert Mdechi. He kind of basically tried to tackle him, and he wasn't allowed to do that. It was not allowed, so he needs to kind of he's aggressive. He looks like he really wants to prove himself. You got to slow your roll a little bit because he could have took the man out. He was trying to tackle him. I mean, TDP, he didn't expect it. So he could have injured him. You got to chill out a little bit. That was kind of a bad move. Juice collided with Aziz today. And then kind of Aziz not got the wind knocked out of him, but everything's okay from what the reporter said afterwards. But that was a crazy moment. They collided, bumped up, and it was like, whoa, what happened? Everybody's worried, but nothing big happened. So, good thing nothing happened because we don't want to look at any injuries. Going back to the running back room, though, I did see Sermon at times when he was kind of doing his individual thing. He looked really crisp. He just looked focused. Trey Sermon looked very, very focused. There was one play in particular where he kind of broke over to the open side on the right, and he looked like really spry and quick. So Trey Sermon definitely has put in a lot of work this season. Kyle Shanahan talked about how yoked he was. He looked big. He looked very big. All right. So he looked very, very big on the field today. Yoked. Absolutely. You could tell he's been working this offseason. We got a little breaking news update from Adam Schefter. Let's see what he says. He says, Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf has joined 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel and Chargers Derwin James as players who are training camp but not practicing due to unresolved contract issues per sources. So basically, Derwin James, Deebo Samuel, and DK Metcalf are holding it. But again, as we talked about with Deebo Samuel, it was nice to see him there. He was smiling. They're pretty confident that they're going to work something out. So I'm not worried about the Deebo situation. Seahawks might be in shambles, though. I love to see it. I love to hear it. So we'll see. Let's see. What other notes do I have? George Kittle, the people's tight end, hyped up the crowd. He got a huge pop. You got to love George Kittle. This man is definitely the man of the people. He ran to the field. Y'all saw the video. Running to the field. And then, wow, get out. People lost their absolute mind. Like other players, everybody was hyped to see him. But when George Kittle ran, people lost their mind. George Kittle is one of the just legends. You could tell the fans absolutely love this man. His vibe was amazing, and it's just great to see George Kittle, a man of the people. He was out there signing autographs like nobody's business. Good to see it. I didn't get an autograph, but hopefully next time. I wanted the kids to go. A lot of adults were trying to take over where the kids were. I was like, let the kids get the autograph. But George Kittle, man of the people. So, George Kittle. Do they check tickets? Yeah, when you first come in, you have to scan your ticket. My man, 49ers 209 says Trey Lance went 9 for 11. Yes, we did talk about that. He went 9 for 11. That's what the reports are. So, let's see. Was on the VIP side? Not today. There's going to be a day where I'm on the VIP side next week. Let's see. My man says Kinlaw should have joined the team, but he didn't. Well, again, the thing with Kinlaw, and Kyle said this, is they wanted to bring him in slowly. They're not going to throw him into the fire. Him, Mike McGlinchey, and Aziz, they're all coming off of injuries. You don't want to rush him into it. It's the first day of training camp. Javon Kinlaw didn't need to go out there and participate in every single drill. Just the fact that he was out there getting up to speed, was good. He looked a lot slimmed down. He looked very quick on his feet today from what I saw when he was running his drills. But yeah, he could have done more work today, obviously, but they're trying to slowly ramp him up. You don't just take someone who hasn't played in a long time, coming off of surgery, and then just throw him out there. You're going to cause more damage than anything. You're going to have soreness. You're going to make that guy break down more than anything. You have to let the body adjust and accommodate. So for someone to say, Grant Cohn should have said, Javon Kinlaw should have been there and done more teamwork. It's not how the body works. You have to slowly build up to it. He'll be fine. And I think the Niners know what they're doing. Again, they're ramping these players up. But he looked quick. He looked very quick, right? So, he looked very quick. My man JBL says, how was BA? BA was the best player on offense today. He was the best player. He got a lot of work. You could tell he was really working hard to do what he had to do. And he was looking like a veteran. He was, again, what we talked about earlier is he was giving that veteran vibe to the players. He was just really coaching them up and saying, you got to do this. Like I saw him just telling Danny Gray and everybody and showing them, where the route would go and turn here. You could just see Ayuk was trying to be the big brother, like Mohamed Sanu was, right? So, any UFFA stand out today? Again, I think the guy that really stood out to me was Leon O'Neal, just maybe because I was really looking at for him, because that's my boy. He was working hard. He was just, and he may not have made big plays, but you could just tell he was grinding. He was grinding. He was working, just working, man. Other players, I didn't really see anybody else stand out too much under UFAs. It was kind of hard because I was looking all over the place, and I was really trying to focus on certain groups. Like I was focusing on wide receiver, cornerback, and I was really locked in on the quarterback. I was locked in on Trey a lot. It was kind of hard on my vantage point. I think next time I'm going to sit up a little bit. You get a better vantage point. So from what I saw, though, Leon O'Neal looked like he was really working his ass off. So good to see it. So good to see it. Let's see. I don't know. I think those are all my notes today. Trey was in command. Trey's team. Oh, Ray McLeod. There was a few plays where he looked pretty shifty. Over to Machado. My boy Ray with the signature on the hat. Yeah, he was nice. Ray looks good. I think he's right now got the lead to be the return man. But don't sleep on Danny Gray. They might throw Danny Gray as the return man. He's got that breakaway speed, man. But Ray looked very shifty. There was a nice little play over the middle where he was cutting a rug. Looked good. One guy though in particular that really was like, okay, that was a nice little play that I didn't expect was uh, was on offense. It was we talked about it. The Jordan Matthews play, the touchdown from Jordan Matthews, looked like he looks determined. Looked very determined. We did talk about that Jordan Matthews play. Yeah, nice little touchdown from Brock Purdy. Who else looked good today? That's about it. Though I think those are the biggest notes. Those are the biggest takeaways. Anything bad? I mean, yeah, you could see that, Mike McGlinchey's still not 100%. He's just getting ramped up. Again, you can talk, maybe say Javon Kinlaw, same thing. Just they're ramping those guys up. It's the first day. They didn't really try much, creative. You just see basic. It was just vanilla today. It wasn't really much of the playbook. Again, it was just basic stuff. It was just, here's your first day of camp. Let's just get out there. Let's get in the swing of things. So it really wasn't too much of a dynamic practice. It was pretty much just, here we go, we're back, let's get into the swing of things. So it wasn't one of those where like you saw all the red zone installments. They didn't really do much of that. It's just very basic intermediate passes. So if anything was bad, it was just the fact that it really didn't do much today. Again, it was just the first day out there. I'm sure as it goes on, they're going to ramp things up, but it's a basic training camp today. So, but it wasn't really bad because it was a fun time. It was a great experience. It was a training camp where I feel like a lot was getting done. There was just a lot to process because it was the first day of Trey's day. Quarterback one, get him up to speed, just kind of bring him along. Jimmy G, they excused him. Deebo's still not there, right? He's just on the sideline. So there was a lot going on behind the scenes and around the situation, right? So it wasn't like everything was as one. There's still a ways from being the team they need to be. This is the first day of many. This is the first day of the season, basically. So there's just still a lot to kind of process. So, I mean, overall, it was a great first training camp. You shouldn't expect much out of it, but it was a good time. It was a good time. Mimi says Friday pads. Hopefully Deebo is signed in the next few days. He should be working with Trey. I hope Deebo signs soon. So if he does, that's going to be huge for this team. So a lot of people are saying they predict Deebo to sign on Friday. I hope you guys are right. I hope you're right. Let's see. My man Arnav says he's coming at training camp and he got a pick with Kittle. Let's go. Nice. Got a pick with Kittle. That's very, very awesome. So overall, those were the notes I had. That's pretty much it. Now I'll open up to questions. JFN says, who is the best defensive player today? We talked about it earlier. Emmanuel Mosley looked locked in, contract season. He had multiple PBUs, and the guy was all over the place, looking sharp, looked good. It was nice to see. Nice to see. Secondary looks really, really good. I loved it. It was nice. My man Reyes says, I seen you at camp. I was going to try to get a pic with you. I didn't. Come up to me. I don't bite. A lot of people are coming up to me. Next time you see me, if you're at camp the rest of the time, say what's up, man. I'll stop and take a picture with you. Aziz and Drake Jackson. Aziz, he had the little incident where he ran into Juice, kind of knocked the wind out of him, but he was okay. He looked like he was in incredible shape today. Drake Greenlaw was out there. He was doing his thing. He looked okay. Drake Jackson, he was getting a lot of work on the sleds and kind of on the side with the D linemen. They were really working on some of these. You could tell them, these younger guys, they were getting them a lot of exposure and trying to really ramp them up. But he didn't do a lot in terms of team drills, but those individual drills, they were really getting those younger guys going through the sleds, going through the side work. They were really working it. But from where I saw, I was really in the peripheral of where the first team defense was, and you could see those guys really working their ass off. Samson Ebicam, he was on the first team D line with Dominic Bosa, Fred Warner, and Aziz and Dre Greenlaw were out there, man, and they were all just they looked quick. All of them looked just quick today. Of course, it's the first day of camp. I mean, everybody kind of looks like they're just hyped up. They got a lot of energy. They're all pretty quick. This is the first day. They got high energy. There's no injuries. They're all coming in pretty fresh. So everybody looked like they were doing what they had to do. So overall, I didn't see much bad out of these players. They didn't make too many mistakes. So that was a good thing. George Odom, he was out there working a lot. He looked quicker than I thought he was going to be. George Odom, a lot faster than I thought he was going to be. I didn't think he was that fast. The guy is very quick, just kind of explosive off the line. He was doing some drills with Hufanga, and you could see he was just running quick. So nice to see it. The linebacker group, they have the good chemistry. They were like the If you, it's hard to explain it, but the chemistry you see from the linebackers is kind of different from everybody else. They have this tight knit group, and they come out together. They have this swag together. Fred Warner's there, and Greenlaw, and they just kind of hype each other up when they went out there like doing their drills, hyping each other up. Like those guys really are locked in. That linebacker group, it's a little different from everybody. They are like hyping each other up. So everybody else they're hyping, but they're focused on what they're doing. They're focused. And these guys are focused, but they're just like cheering each other on. The linebackers are different. I love them. Love that group. So first day of school, everybody's always hyped. Yeah, it was just like big vibes today. But as training camp goes, it's gonna be the dog days of summer and you get tired. Then we'll see who really is something special. So it's still early. What I mean? It's still the first day. Everybody's got that energy, expending that juice. So yeah, it was fun though. We'll come on. I'm gonna go grab something to eat. We'll be live again a little later, probably on Instagram. I might come back on YouTube. We'll do some more questions and we'll go from there. But overall, good training camp. Again, Trey Lance, the biggest takeaway, looked like he was a command. Good to see Deebo smiling. Juwan Jennings, or not Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, stand out on offense. Emmanuel Mosley, stand out on defense. Dee Ford, cut, crazy. They saved $1.12 million in cap space. Jimmy Garoppolo has been excused from training camp practices, meaning he can come in, work out, do his rehab, and then he can go hit the bricks or do whatever he has to do, go get some Subway. I don't know, whatever he's going to do at this time. But those were the biggest takeaways from today. Unbelievable. Hell of a day. I will be back at training camp later this week. I'm going to miss tomorrow, but the rest of the training camps I'll be at, and then we'll come back live and talk about them all. Appreciate the support. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the page. I love you guys. Have a great day.